when you think of the name Jake and you put wrestling with it, you can't help but think about Jake the Snake Roberts. Our guest here today, I got a very good sneaking suspicion that he could give Mr. Jake the Snake and his snake all that he wanted on the wrestling mat. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Jake the Snake, or Jake from State Farm, Lowry.
And that actually, I was going to use a Jake from State Farm. So you beat me to it. I already had that one kind of planned out. Man, you are a state tournament level wrestling official in Kentucky and in Tennessee. We'll talk about your Tennessee endeavors here just in a minute. But for the people that maybe don't know, much about you, or only see you maybe a couple times a year, kind of give us a little bit of a backstory about yourself. Did you wrestle in school for people that don't know, or just kind of give us, the Reader Digest version real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. And I wrestled from fifth grade all the way through high school. Little league state tournaments, you had to qualify in Missouri. So we're getting there in Kentucky, but little league state tournaments, high school state tournament, never medaled, but did go and had an offer to wrestle at a small NAIA school in Missouri. I frankly had zero interest in wrestling in college. I actually played baseball in college, so I was already signed and ready to roll. And they said, "Hey, you have any interest in wrestling?" I said, "I'm going to be honest with you, no, I sure don't." And so that's what I did. I went and played baseball, and here I am. I've umpired and officiated, and I'll tell you, I'll take wrestling over baseball 100 times out of 100.
I believe that. And of course, how many years have you been officiating?
This was year 4 for me.
Okay.
Next year will be 5. So I did a year in Missouri, and then this was my 3rd in Kentucky, and then my 1st in Tennessee as well this year.
Awesome, man. And of course, you got to do the Kentucky State Tournament in 2023. And of course, we're filming this on the 14th of May, 2024. You got to do the boys state tournament. So, man, back-to-back years doing the state finals, or state tournament and the state finals, I should say. But you've been officiating for a while. You wrestled for a great number of years there in elementary, middle school, high school. And we like to, with these review videos, we like to give everybody, I don't want to use the word platform, but at least be able to put out information to the wrestling community, whether it's officials speaking to coaches and wrestlers, or coaches speaking to maybe senior coaches like your Mike Bancampers, your Wayne Bedittas, speaking to the newer coaching generation coming up. So, Jake, man, just, you can say as much as you'd like, as little as you'd like, take it however you want. But what are a few things, 1 or 2 things, a multitude of things that you wish, like coaches coming into the sport, new wrestlers, new officials, maybe even seasoned officials, that, because we love being able to give different perspectives. That's what makes this series special, is, everybody's got a story to tell, and we just love to be in the platform. So, man, knock our socks off here. Let us have it.
Yeah. I'd say 2 things that have always kind of stuck with me for both wrestling and baseball, and it's really geared more towards new officials. Obviously, we need all the officials we can get. So anyone interested, please do sign up, and we'll get you trained, and we'll get you mentored. Whatever you need, we'll help you out. But 2 things I usually would tell newer officials is, 1, that every call matters to somebody, whether it's a little league tournament in, the beginning of the season, or if it's the last match at the state tournament in high school in February. Every call matters to somebody. I think, we as officials maybe tend to, get a little, we're having too much fun out there, or we think, oh, it's just a youth tournament, whatever the case might be. And, we need to just remember that, hey, like I said, every call matters to somebody. So it may not, be as important of a match as a high school state tournament or what have you, but, we always got to make sure we treat those matches with the same respect as one another. So, and the second thing is that you're never going to make everybody happy. Somebody's usually going to be probably upset with you if the call doesn't go their way. Somebody's going to be upset with you one way or the other. But you always got your official brothers and sisters as well now that'll have your back, and they'll tell you, hey, you had that right or you didn't. So you
Yeah.
always got some teammates behind you there.
And man, that's a great point. We got to do the girls state tournament this year, and I think it was 107. I think was the weight, and I was the assistant with John Esham. We was kind of behind the score table, kind of getting loose, whatever. You sit around for a few minutes, especially when you get some years on you. You know what I mean? You kind of have to start moving. And John, the only thing he said was, "Just keep me out of trouble, brother." I was like, "Man, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you." And that's having the assistant, of course, in the finals, semifinals, all that is great. But if you are a newer official, maybe you have been officiating for a while, but you haven't really got to do any varsity, big time varsity, and there's in Kentucky we have regional level officials, state duals level officials, and of course state tournament level officials. And chances are, if you are a state tournament level, you've done the regionals and state duels. Maybe you've been tried out at like a state duels or regionals. Hey, maybe this guy or girl needs a few more matches, a few more years to learn whatever. But if somebody there has got experience, and you've been around for a while, don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated to ask them. Hey, can you watch me a couple matches? Hey, can you give me like one of our KWOA eval forms and just okay? Yep, man. You moved well, but maybe let's work on our mechanics, because Jake, I think me and you both can agree that the mechanics are going to make you or break you. I
absolutely.
mean, the mechanics, that's what we get preached to all year by our referee colleagues is mechanics. And now we've got to learn a couple, adding the three in,
That's right.
adding the my time, and then the four near fall. I'm not going to go ahead and say we're going to mess up. There's going to be some time this year we're going to throw up two. It's just going to happen.
I'm
I
counting to
mean,
five at least once.
oh
I'm
yeah,
counting to five and
I've already
one.
told like it's happening. I'm counting to five about every meet, but
That's
just
right.
newer officials, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to say, "Hey, what do I need to work on? What looks good?" And newer or seasoned officials, let's not embarrass our new officials in front of everybody. Take them off to a locker room outside of the public view if they mess up, something to that effect. Because, I mean, like Jake said, it's hard enough to get referees now. We don't want to run off our people. Let's be cool about it. Locker room area, outside the gym area, maybe go out to eat afterwards, pull up our phone, say, okay, now look here, you need to be farther back. You're too close. We don't feel for falls. We look for falls. Just little things like that. Just be the seasoned official there. And talking about mechanics making or breaking you, man, you got to do two high school state tournaments this year in two different states. So you got to do the Kentucky state tournament and you got to do the Tennessee state tournament. Now, I guess, do you officiate in both? I mean, is that a dumb question to ask, or were you just like along for the ride on that Tennessee, or how's that work for you?
Yep. No, I'm working in both. This was the first year. Kind of wanted to see how it worked out. It went about as good or better as I could have expected. Working with Rocky and the Tennessee assigner, and just kind of trying to work out as best as I could. Hey, what weekends do you need me most?
Mhm.
And basically, it worked out for me because I was essentially working 5 days a week. How they got it set up in Tennessee. They do middle school Monday, Wednesday. They do varsity Tuesday, Thursday. So I was, anytime I really wanted to get a duel or a try or whatever the case might
Mhm.
be, there's work on the week. I was also, throwing in some Kentucky stuff. Went up to Fort Campbell and Christian County, things like that. But I did the best I could to kind of separate both states, and was lucky enough to have two good assigners that really worked with me. And I know that maybe they needed me on one weekend and I worked in Kentucky when Tennessee needed me, or vice versa. And like I said, two really good assigners that were willing to work with me and make that work this year. So a lot of miles on the car and all that stuff, but that's why we do it, because we love it.
Yeah.
And we want any opportunity to stay on the mat. So I was fortunate to have done both states this year and to have been selected to call both state tournaments. So
Yeah, man, that's a big accomplishment. It really was. It shows the and we done a review video with Damon Lavelle, and I believe you were the assistant on that. Is that correct?
that's correct. Yep.
That's what I thought,
Yeah,
man.
it didn't wasn't planned or anything like that. And I didn't realize they gave us the sheet with everybody, their matches, and I didn't realize until I walked out on the mat that it was his match. And I just knew the weight class, and I didn't put it together until I was out on the mat. But yeah, it was kind of fun. I saw I saw the Kentucky gang up there, and they were in the stands and cheering, and we said hello, and we could hear we could hear them all the way on the mat. So
Oh,
it was fun experience to be a part of. And Dee was there having a good time, and there was a special moment for them to share.
oh yeah, man, that's absolutely, and that's a we I D or I'm sorry, D'Amion, he was our first Tennessee state champion. Of course, we're Kentucky specific, but I tell anybody that has wrestled in Kentucky or has connection, or if I know them from refereeing or whatever, they win whatever. I know how life takes people. Family obligations, whatever work, whatever it is for a family. Like Brooke Arbic is going to Florida because her father's in the military there at Fort Campbell. She wins it in Florida. I said, you'd better be back on this channel because you have a Kentucky connection, and we want to keep up with you. We want to make sure that what you've done there is also being followed by our Kentucky wrestling community as well. So it's just cool, man. To be able to do that for you or see you on there, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
Yeah.
And that was man, it's just a cool part to be, or I don't say cool part, but a cool feather in your cap to say you got to do two in a year. So the last year your state finals match ended with an injury default, and of course, I mean, it happens. That's part of wrestling. It just the way it was. This year, man, you had a really good match. Malachi Harris from Trinity and Rylan Pinkston from Highlands. Of course, Malachi, his review is on the channel already, so it's going to be great to get your perspective on it. So we're going to pull it up here to the horse park. There you go, man. We're at the horse park. Now, I believe Tennessee's state tournament is at like an agriculture center as well, correct?
It is. Yeah. It's a very, very similar venue. Even down to like the bathroom situation and the locker room situation, very similar. The only I would there's a give and take because Tennessee does not have the dusty floor. They've got a carpet. However, the ceiling does leak. So you get the give and take. You got some,
okay.
if it rains, I've been told we didn't have any issues this year because it was good weather, but I've been told that in the past, if it's raining outside, the assistant will keep a towel in his pocket and kind of wipe up the mat as they are assisting the match. So there's some give and take there, but yeah, it's very, very similar.
I got you, man. That's kind of funny. What would you rather have? Dust on the mat, water on the mat? You know what I mean?
That's right.
So for the officials that are striving for a state tournament, that are working to be, whether it's regional, state duels, whatever, right before you go out to do the finals, what are we thinking? What are we feeling? What's it like for you before you go out?
Yeah, obviously there's some nerves, and I think that if anybody tells you they don't have some nerves, they probably there's either something wrong with them or they're lying to you. So obviously there's always a little bit of nerves. You want to make sure you call a match fairly and you get the right outcome. So Definitely some nerves, but me personally, I tend to, especially big matches where hey, I've got some time. I'm thinking about one match. I like to go over the overtime rules in my head, just things that like, hey, okay, small stuff that may come up that just want to make sure, okay, I know what we're doing here in overtime, or if we're going to the ultimate tiebreaker, I know the correct sequence of events and things, just so I don't forget, then and just trying to remind myself that we're all good. So those are the kind of things I think about pre-match.
Yeah, man, that's so newer officials or maybe even younger officials coming into it next year. You high school seniors coming in, they want to stay involved with it. That's a great piece of advice. It never hurts to know like Jake said, the overtime rules, the injury exceptions, like Joe had in the finals where Carter took 2 injury timeouts and
Yep.
had the kid from Madison Southern got the choice and chose down.
Yep.
But man, that's a great piece. I think you're the first person that said that, so that I'm glad that you threw that in there. So man, we've talked enough about it. Let's go watch you do this.
All right. Step number one, have a good assistant official, which obviously I did on this match. Anybody at the tournament, boys or girls, would have been more than capable, but obviously having Andrew over there makes you feel a little better. So
Yeah. All right, so you blow the whistle and you back up almost to the boundary line there, 28-foot circle. So new officials, give the wrestlers room to work. And you and Andrew, you're staying at that 180 there, kind of mirroring each other.
Yep. And going into this match, I had not had either Malachi or Rylan this season. I had Malachi a couple times last season. So I knew that Malachi was aggressive from neutral. I knew he likes to shoot that blast double, and he's really successful with it. So I kind of expected him to come out and be the aggressor. Everything that I knew about Rylan was that he was very, very much a technique, very skilled technique wrestler and good on top, which I think we saw both of those things in this match.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were getting to some good ties, and they had some really good scrambles early in the match here. And Malachi got the takedown quick, and then this is a really good scramble here.
Yeah. You're giving them room to work. You're letting it burn. And you've indicated you're not holding it, but you've indicated 3 or 4 times no control, just like that right there.
Yep.
That you haven't got anything yet, and that's the way that mechanic should be done. New officials, if you don't have anything, about every 4 or 5 seconds, just do what Jake's doing there. It lets the coaches know, lets the score table know, the fans know, hey, we're still neutral.
I think maybe some officials might have stalemated it by now. I like to let them kind of wrestle through it. If there's any improvement, I like to let them wrestle through it. And nobody ended up scoring there, but I wanted to let it burn. And like I said, I saw improvement, so I let it go.
Good mechanics there on the disc flip.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Rylan takes down and Malachi cuts him. So again, knew that Malachi wanted to be aggressive on his feet, so I wasn't shocked by the cut there. And this is where Rylan, I think, really, if I remember correctly, really kind of takes it to Malachi a little bit and changes the pace on him. And I think, he gets the takedown here because, like I said, I think Malachi cut him and was ready to shoot that blast double again, and he got a little bit surprised here and had to go to work.
Yeah, that was. I think he actually mentioned that in his review video, Malachi. Yeah.
Yep. And then again, like I said, I knew that Rylan was solid on top. Everything I'd never, to my knowledge, called one of his matches, but everything that I'd heard, was that he was very, very good on top.
Now, right there, you stepped in and said something with your hands cupped. That's a good mechanic. If you're going to step in, officials, whether you're newer or veteran, you don't do that. That's something that we do in Kentucky. Step in, cup your hands. I'm glad that was on video there. That way you can or give a good example because you can talk to the wrestlers. They keep that legal action.
Yep. And if I remember correctly, I think I was actually I was yelling to improve. Obviously, you don't want to, specify either wrestler, but I believe I was yelling at Malachi more than Rylan. I had him on top working hard to score and not much happening on bottom. And then Malachi gets that escape. So if I remember correctly, I believe I was yelling improvement on for Malachi is what I was looking for.
Yeah. And of course, right there in that, knowing the rules here and seeing what Malachi had as opposed to what Rylan was defending, you gave the 2, which that body lock, it shows right in the rule book, doesn't stop the 2 or the around. So that was a good job there on the rules. It looks like it's Green's choice, and he's going to take down.
Yep. And if I remember correctly, I think most of the third period is a ride out, and then we get the scramble with the almost near fall.
Yeah, it's
but again here, same deal. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I was yelling for improvement, and I wanted it from Malachi because he's working here, but coming up right at about I think a minute, I think he starts getting a little bit okay with where he's at. So, but again, Rylan's on top. He's working, in my opinion, aggressively to try and score near fall. He's not getting anything, but
right.
But in my opinion, he was aggressively working towards it. So, and I think right here is, I think where Malachi kind of, that I'm yelling at. I need improvement.
Yep. Yeah, that's if you've never been newer officials, if you've never been in a high pressure match like this where it's close.
We had about a 1 count and then another 1 count there, and it was about as close as you can get. And man, it was like I said, that's about as close as you can get. I had 2 1 counts, and I yelled that out, and I think that's why I had expected Highland's coach to take me to the table, but when I had said I got 2 1 counts, they didn't take me, and I think that was the reason. But yeah, it was really close, but I do think I had 2 1 counts there. I'm pretty confident in that. So, but really good match. I mean, close match, could have gone either way, and it was
number 1, number 2 ranked wrestlers in the state. That's the way a state final should be. And you've done excellent. I mean, of course, you know that. Don't need me to tell you, but you've done excellent there. Getting us on that.
Yeah, and then I think I'm giving him some trouble for crying here, and I told him let's do one to each side. So for the first, I guess, official state championship match after the injury default, which unfortunate, never want to see anybody get hurt. I think I was probably worked up more than the wrestlers for that match, and then we made it all 2 minutes before it was over, so it's okay. But no, it was a really good match, and like I said, kind of was everything that I expected it to be, and really could have gone either way. Yeah, man. Of course, you hit right there at the end. You hit Malachi for stalling on the bottom, which was the right call, but the video kind of got into something else. But what I was saying is to the
newer officials, younger officials, whatever the case may be. If you've never been in a high pressure match, whether it's state finals or just a weekend tournament or even a duel that's going, it's got some ranked wrestlers. The later in the match it gets and the tighter the score is, the louder the corner that's down is going to be yelling stalling. So you have to know your version of stalling cannot change match to match. Newer officials, whether it's from neutral, the top wrestler, bottom wrestler, whatever, you can't change from match at the 106 to the match at the 113. You have to be consistent. And if you don't see it, you don't call it. Don't make it up. Don't give some, crazy, this is what I saw, whatever. No, that's how you get, I don't want to use the word blackball, but that's how you get, we don't want that guy back at RG, if you get, even if the coaches don't like it, as long as they know you're consistent, they're like, you know what, so-and-so, good referee. This guy, man, he's a good referee. He, whatever, or girl, we don't want to leave our female referees out of this because, Kristen, we're going to be doing her review video. Got a couple other, I think, women that are going to try to do it next year. So they've said.
Right, Morgana.
Yep, forgot about Morgana. Tosca, can't forget Tosca.
Yep. And there's more in there that we're forgetting too. We've been forgetting about you. We just can't think of
a couple. But man, watching that back, we've like we do with the wrestlers. Not really. I mean, you called it great, but is there anything about it that kind of sticks out? You're like, okay, let's go talk about the 2-1 counts because that's a great scenario because that can happen in any match. When you said out loud, I have 2-1 counts.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, you said Highlands coach you thought they were going to, but they didn't. Let's just say they take you to the table. They, raise your hand, take you to the table, whatever. What would your explanation be? That way other referees can kind of have something to go off of if they have something in the same scenario.
Yeah. Well, I think, before even going to the table to address their concern, I would have, confided in Andrew and just said, hey, what have you got? And we'd had a quick conversation, and I'd gone to the table and asked their concern. And, say they said, hey, what did you have there? I would have just said, Coach, I've got 2 separate 1 counts there. I do not have a 2 count. And, we had taken it from there. But, 2 separate 1 counts and not a 2 count. Like I said, I think it was very, very close, but that would have been my response. Coach, I've got 2 separate 1 counts and I do not have a 2 count.
And that's probably about the best explanation that you could give new officials. So bookmark that if that situation happens, the coach takes you to the table. Coach, we've got 2 separate 1 counts. And make sure you use the word separate. Make sure you insert that word separate in there. That way they know, and everybody will at least be they may not agree with it, but at least they'll be understanding this is what you had. So Jake, man, any closing remarks, anything that you'd like to add, say, take away, anything like that? Because, I think we've covered a lot of ground, but it's all being good ground. I still want to make sure leave anything out if you have anything you'd like to say.
Yeah, no, nothing major. Appreciate everything you're doing for Kentucky wrestling with all these videos. I think, the only thing I'll say is to anybody watching, coaches, fans, wrestlers, whatever, just know that, we may not have the biggest group of officials in the country, but we're small but mighty, and we're doing everything we can to get better and to make sure that you guys have good officials at your matches. We're like I said, working together. We're sending each other videos. We're in group chats. We're sending, rules, interpretations to each other, having those conversations. So just know that the ones that you've got, we're doing everything we can to be the best officials we can be. That's
an excellent way to end the video, man. So I appreciate you coming on and doing this. A lot of good information. Great match to review. And you, man, you handled it like a champ, man. Just one of those, you belong out there. Of course, I think everybody got to do, the boys and girls. I mean, we all belonged out there. I don't think there was, I I don't think anybody can sit back and say, "Ooh, I don't know about," I think everybody put on like you said, a really good showing this year, and we gave the kids the best of us. We didn't disappoint the KHSAA. We didn't disappoint Jason or anybody in that capacity. I think we all had a really great showing, and it's matches like this, performances like yours, man, that we're able to say, Kentucky, we've got some good wrestling, and we've got some even better officials. So, Jake, you took my State Farm reference. I was going to use it right here, but you took it from me. So I guess you hear it all the time, more than the average bear does. But man, thank you for doing this. Thank you all for watching. We will see you guys, girls, and snakes on the mats.